Hi, Susanne Pescott. I'm a volunteer interviewer for International Bomber Command Centre over in Lincoln, and today I'm here with Jeff Brown. So Jeff, we're over at Woodford at the Avro Museum, and today we're in front of their new exhibit, the Anson,
yes,
which I believe you trained in.
I did my air gunner training on Ansons. It was a little bit different to this because they had a gun turret on the top. That's where we did our firing from.
And what year was it you did your Anson training?
That was in the summer of 1944. That was at Dal Cross, Inverness.
Okay, do you want to tell me a little bit about your time during your training on the Anson?
Well, we used to go out on air firing exercises over the sea, and we had each exercise, you were given 400 rounds of ammunition on a long belt, and before you went to the aircraft, the ammunition, the tips of the bullets were dipped in paint, and you had to load the ammunition into the gun turret, being careful you didn't get covered in paint, and each gunner fired a different colour. The reason for this was you fired at a white-coloured canvas drone, like a long tube about 20 feet long, which was towed by another aircraft. And if you hit the drone, the bullet not only cut a hole in it, but it left a colour smear. Now, these could be counted afterwards, and could tell out of the 300 rounds how many hits you had got. They were using sort of old equipment, so the firing wasn't all that accurate. And out of about 300 rounds, you were lucky if you could get perhaps 10 hits. Usually you got just 4 or 5. If you came back and they found you got, say, 30 hits, they knew you'd been doing something wrong to get such a high score, because with the state of the equipment, that wasn't possible if you were at the correct range and doing the exercise properly. So that's how you did your air firing. After you fired, you used to go to a counting shed. The towing aircraft dropped the drone. It was taken by WAFs, laid out in a long table, and the number of holes were counted by the colour, and they filled in a report. You knew which drone you fired at because it had big identification letters at the front end, and then you could go to the counting shed and see how much you had scored. But you weren't then finished, because you go then to what we call the potting shed, where all the empty gun cases were poured out, they were removed from the aircraft and poured out on a metal top table which had slots in it, the shape of the camber, of the metal case of the round. And you had to sort them out from the metal linkages. You had to sort them out from the metal linkages and put the empty cartridge case through the slotted hole. It was called posting, and then gather up the metal links and put them in another box where they could be then reused on another exercise. So it was quite an involved process altogether, from start to finish.
And how long would you be in the air for during these exercises?
We were at the Air Gunner training school. I think it was probably 2 going on 3 months, something like that. Yes.
So you're based there training for 3 months, but when you actually set off in the Anson to do the shots at the drogue, how many flying hours would you do during that actual exercise?
How many?
Flying hours would you do during the actual each exercise?
An exercise would last about 3/4 of an hour, something like that. Sometimes up to an hour, but not very long.
And did you get graded after it, or was it just part of a training exercise?
It was just part of a training exercise, and you put a page in your flying logbook with the scores that you had from your firing exercises. So it was all recorded, how many rounds you fired, how many hits you got. Every exercise was recorded in that manner.
Right, so that's all in your logbook then?
Yes.
Oh, good. And what did you think of the Anson as a plane when you went up in it?
Oh, they were great little aircraft, very steady, very sturdy, and it seemed a bit strange having an aircraft with canvas covering, but they were very strong aircraft. I don't record we had any trouble with them. We had more trouble with the firing exercises. Sometimes the turret wouldn't work properly, or you'd get gun stoppages, and you had to cancel it all, return back to base, and then do it all again on another day.
And how many would go up in the actual plane on your exercises? How many would
when each exercise, 4 gunners went up. Each one fired a different colour, so your number of hits could be identified after you landed.
And how many crew were with you?
Pardon?
How many crew were on the plane, as well as the 4 gunners?
Just 4 gunners, a pilot and an instructor gunner who was just kept an eye on things to make sure you were doing everything properly.
So after you trained on the Anson, what was the next stage of your training?
The next stage of the training, we went to Operational Training Unit, OTU, where you join the crew with wireless operators, doorman, pilot, and the 2 gunners. And we flew on Wellington aircraft and did all kinds of exercises. Each crew member had a type of exercise to perform. The pilots, the navigator, and the wireless operator, and they did air gunner firing from, it had a rear turret with 4 guns in it, and we did air firing exercises from that turret. You did, each one had a turn, firing not up the road, just firing, and it was exercises in case you had any gun stoppages. You could try and recoup them, sort them out and start firing again. So each gunner had a go firing from the rear turret. All the other crew members were doing exercises connected with their own trade, like pilot, navigator, and so on. And after that, the next stage, we went on, we were introduced to the Lancaster, what was called Heavy Conversion Unit.